Business Central. Then I will hand it over to Chris to cover some Dynamics 365 sales and customer engagement news. And then we will hand it over to Klaas from HillStar, introducing the reporting solution for Business Central based on Power BI called BIRD. But later on, you will definitely hear more about that. I would love to cover several subjects. Those are the ones I would like to cover in this webcast, and let's dive into it. Recently, we had the Microsoft Business Application Summit, where also several Business Central related sessions were hosted. Nothing really new or that excited news from there. Although we got an update on the current status of Business Central directly from Microsoft, that we are already at more than 6,000 end customers, 650 apps and plus on AppSource, which is great. If you're going to have a look in AppSource, you also could see a number, something just above 700, but it's the way you measure it. And it's good to know and good to see that most of the partners selling Business Central do also sell other Dynamics 365 products like sales or customer engagement, for example. I'm not going to dive into all the new features related to the Wave 1 release of April this year, because we have covered that more in depth in the webcast of March and April. So I would recommend you to watch those recordings if you want to know more about the 2020 release Wave 1 of Business Central. Having a look beyond Wave 1, it's good to know that we now have a new general manager at Microsoft for Business Central. And he's replacing the temporary one, Mike Ehrenberg. And of course, that's always good news, because then you have someone dedicated to the job, having his own KPIs and targets and so on. So yeah, he will spend most of his energy on the Business Central product, which is great. And he formerly joined the Office Online team at Microsoft. So more or less responsible for the whole transition of Office to Office Online with Office 365. So yeah, very great to have him on board at Microsoft. If you look beyond Wave 1, Microsoft has named several pillars they are focusing on, and the first one is a seamless service. And with that, they would love to have an outcome where Microsoft delivers the world a world-class service that exceeds customer and partners' expectations for performance, skill, accessibility, supportability, security, and so on. Of course, it's a general sentence, but it's good to know that they're heavily still investing in the overall performance and maturity of the Business Central SaaS platform. Next to that is delight customers, and that's not something typical for business applications, but Microsoft is does want to have the outcome that Business Central would be a joy for the customers to use on a day-to-day basis. Of course, you have your favorite apps on your phone you're really enjoying to use, and that's typically not something similar for the business application, but Microsoft sees that as their goal to reach that same experience with the business applications. The third one is a better together across Microsoft, and that's of course the whole integration with Office 365 and the Power Platform. And it's good to know that we as QBS do also invest in the services to assist you with a Power Platform approach. So we created new trainings and so on, and you're definitely going to be informed about that if you're not already. They're also working on a Microsoft Teams integration with Business Central. So, of course, on the platform side, Power Platform is the next big thing for Microsoft, but they're also heavily investing in Microsoft Teams. And they are looking towards an integration with Business Central. So you could imagine that if you have working on projects in Microsoft Teams, that you also got some project information, or even using timesheets directly from within Microsoft Teams. We could expect something more around this topic later this year, I would guess, after summer. And last, enable partners. Of course, Microsoft knows they need us, you as the partner, to make it a success. And they're looking towards partners embracing the Business Central approach, and also, of course, the ISVs, for putting their apps on AppSource to be to fill in the gaps of the standard product Business Central. Next is SmartList Designer. It's a new feature related to Wave 1, but it will be released maybe in June or July or whatever. We could expect some more information very soon. And SmartList Designer, for those who are familiar with Dynamics GP, are already familiar with this feature. It's more or less a feature which gives end user the ability to design lists and reports directly from within Business Central. So you're able to define, save and edit queries with zero code. So with that, you're also able to join multiple tables for your own ad hoc query view. And like I mentioned, that's available from for list pages as well. And the great thing about that is that you're able as an end user to create your own reports involving multiple tables and so on. And like I mentioned before about a Power Platform, that is the next big thing for Microsoft. It's good to know that this new feature within Business Central is actually a Power App connected to Business Central. But for the end user experience, they're able to define their own reports directly from within Business Central. And we could expect a preview around this feature, especially very interesting for the ones not familiar with Dynamics GP. We could expect a preview in the next couple of months. But this is definitely a feature to keep an eye on, because that opens a lot of opportunities for the reporting options in Business Central, especially on end customer level, end user level. Next is the Business Central attach model. Once again, I covered also in the last webinar, but some questions were raised. So we thought it would be a good idea to mention it once again. So users requiring Dynamics 365 sales or customer service may purchase the attach model. That's basically an add-on for if you're already using a license of Business Central. So users having a Business Central license, either Premium or Essentials, could also use Dynamics 365 Sales or Customer Service as an attached license, which is around 16-17 euros for the ones in using euros as the currency. And that opens a lot of upsell opportunities for you as a Dynamics 365 Business Central reseller to also embrace Dynamics 365 sales and or customer engagement. It's a huge upsell possibility. Then something completely different. I would like to address once more Microsoft Learn as the learning portal for Business Central, both for you as a partner, training your own consultant, but also using for training the end customer. Because at the moment, currently speaking, there are 124 modules and learning paths available. Nothing behind a paywall or whatever, it's just in public, also accessible for end customers. And all the modules and learning paths are divided into different roles. So developers, functional consultants, but also the business users, which are more or less the modules which could be very helpful for the end customers to learn more about Business Central. So use this both for your internal training of the people, but also for end customers. Because of course you could create your own training materials, and use that in the projects you're working on with your end customers, but especially in the SaaS world where you have to deal with a lower implementation fee. These are the opportunities to embrace, to make use of the materials already available by Microsoft in public, and also they are maintained by Microsoft, so that's very nice. Next is Business Central Cloud Storage once again. As you maybe know, the current tenant limit is 80 gigabytes for the SaaS environment. And with the new release since April 1st, you're able to purchase additional storage for the ridiculous amount of $40 per gigabyte per month. And that's aligned with the rest of the Dynamics 365 portfolio, but yeah, still very questionable because $40 per gigabyte per month is a lot. But it's good to know that Microsoft is heavily, besides making this queue available, is heavily investing in and preventing us to definitely need those additional storage by investing in techniques like SQL compression. So more or less they're investing on how they could reduce the database size and also increase performance. And having a look at the log file management. Tables for logging purposes are frequently among the largest tables in the database. So they're having a look on that side as well. And they're going to alert people if a database is rapidly growing, maybe something is missing or is going wrong, or you're writing data away in a certain part of your database which is unnecessary. And lastly, they're going to invest more and more in the archiving features. So they basically are going to allow archiving of historical data out of the primary database while still retaining the ability to access the required information. So you could see it as a dedicated archive database which doesn't count towards your 80 gigs of your production database of your tenant. Then I would like to address once more the discount. As you may be familiar with, or maybe not, Microsoft is offering a discount if you're going from on-prem to Business Central SaaS, which is a 40% discount. It's available in CSP only. And it's great to know that if you have made the investments in a on-prem environment of Microsoft Dynamics enough, then you're getting a discount while you're transitioning to Business Central SaaS. Next to that, it's very important that the 1-to-3 ratio is still available. So if you're on NAV and you have, for example, 20 concurrent users, with this offering, you get 60 named users in Business Central on-prem. So that's very, very great. The only requirement for this is that you have purchased those licenses before the 1st of May in last year. So before 1st of May 2019, then you're still able to make use of this packaging alignment where you can change concurrent users in a ratio of 1:3 for named users. So that said, it would make sense to address the path if you would like to go to Business Central SaaS. If you're on NAV 2018, for example, first make use of the 1-for-3 or 3-for-1 offer. So once again, if you now have 20 concurrent users, you get 60 named users back. Then you're on Business Central on-prem, and then you could make use of the transition SKU to go to SaaS with a 40% discount. That 40% discount has no end date. So as long as you're using this environment, you have the 40% discount. Of course, prices may change in the future, but you still have the rights to get the 40% discount on the new prices as well. good to know that this 40% discount looks at the total number of users you have at the moment you're purchasing this SKU. So once again, making use of the same example, if you have 20 concurrent users, then you get 60 named users for Business Central. And then with the 40% discount, you could say, okay, I have the rights to apply this 40% discount on 60 users, but for now I only need 30, for example. And then later on, you also have the rights to make use of this discount again for the last 30 users. Users above the 60. So if you need user 61, then you're not able to use this discount anymore. So yeah, we thought it was a good idea to once address more this license path and the SKUs Microsoft is offering. And as a last comment, I would like to once again remind you of the date of October this year, because version 14 is able to purchase until October this year. So maybe it is very worthy to have a look at this license path to make use of the SKUs and the transition discount by purchasing a Business Central version 14 before October, before it's too late, because this is the last version with Seaside. For most of you, it's familiar, but there are always questions and some people that missed this information in some way in the last year. And with that said, I would like to hand it over to Chris Sparks to tell you more about the CRM update. If there are any questions, Sander, please interrupt.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Thanks, William. Good afternoon, everybody. What I would like to cover today are three things, specifically an announcement about Microsoft Virtual Inspire, some content from the Business Application Summit yesterday, and also give you a little bit of detail about another upcoming QBS webinar. So talking about Virtual Microsoft Inspire, Gabriella Schuster wrote a new blog post on the 1st of May. Gabriella heads up the partner program at Microsoft, announcing that Microsoft Inspire will be a digital-only event experience this year. For those unfamiliar with Microsoft Inspire, it's previously been known as Worldwide Partner Conference, or WPC. It's an annual event, and it's also the biggest partner event in the Microsoft calendar. So, following on from the successful Virtual Business Application Summit yesterday, we expect this to be very well presented and delivered. Microsoft seem to have managed virtual mastery for their events very quickly. The event will run in July on the 21st and the 22nd, and of course it will be aligned to Redmond time, which is the Pacific time zone. So if you do want to attend, be prepared for a late afternoon start and for it to go on until the following morning in our respective time zones. Now, the main news here is that there will be no cost to attend other than your time. So an in-person event fee for this was $2,500. And although the primary value of the event fee is always the networking opportunities, the ability to attend the knowledge-based sessions without cost is very appealing here. So registration will open in June. The exact date is still to be confirmed. We're waiting further information from Microsoft on this, but we will update you in due course. Keep your ear to the Microsoft social media channels also for more information. Talking about the Virtual Business Application Summit from yesterday, there were a few points here that I wanted to highlight. This is very much a kind of a customer focused event rather than partner. It's generally sort of available and not just partner networking type content or partner content. So there was, if you head to the site, head to the link there on the site if you want to view some of the sessions on demand that are already available, including the keynotes and a few core ones on Power BI, for example. There was an excellent Microsoft case study from IKEA in Sweden that they talked about. There was an announcement around a new Transact SQL or T-SQL endpoint for the Common Data Service, and there was an announcement about a new field service Power App from Microsoft too. Now, Business Application Summit, obviously covering Dynamics 365. the case study for IKEA Sweden basically talked about how they needed to re-engineer their business processes that the people needed to follow in order to provide better experiences to their customers, and also the specific challenges that needed to be addressed and what they changed. And what they showed was that how they'd moved from a really low-tech Excel spreadsheet solution to track appointments, customers and projects, and also Excel to do kind of individual and aggregated kitchen sales, and moved to a model where they used a combination of 4 Power Apps to replace their multitude of spreadsheets, bringing together data and information both for business to business and also business to customer type scenarios. So the customer center support app talks about how the business talks to customers. The B2B app talks about how they work with businesses in this scenario around kitchen sales from IKEA Sweden. It is rolling out globally as well, but the territory where this was first delivered was obviously much closer to home for them. So, the examples that are given, they used to have an online scheduling tool. They need to have an online scheduling tool integrated between all parties. Previously there was centralized call lines that used to call out to the local store, putting people on hold. It's the way that the Power Apps have driven massive improvements there that are well worth reading up on. It's quite a lengthy case study because it does talk about the 4 Power Apps in detail and what they bring. The link's on the slide at the bottom if you wanted to view it. Also, in true Microsoft case study style, it leads on to some core return on investment benefits, and it also interestingly talks about plans for future enhancement. So it very much sort of says this is a great case study to date, but they are going to go further with this. If you've been struggling to understand what Power Platform can bring to your customers and your understanding, then I really do strongly suggest that you read that case study. Spare yourself 15-20 minutes and do an understanding of it, because the 4 Power Apps there really do highlight what it can be used to drive business processes. I think the T-SQL, so Transact SQL, if you're technical, you will very clearly understand this. It's about retrieving data from SQL Server as a database. It's been around for years, 20 plus, I would suggest. So there's a large skill set out there in the channel. And this is what got me most excited. I guess that speaks a lot about me. But they talked about being able to connect directly to the data source for those types of select transactions using Azure AD authentication. So why does that kind of get me excited? It's potentially a game-changing experience because it brings a product, SQL Server and Transact SQL, structured query language, if you're unaware of the acronym, that already has a huge knowledge base and skill set in the channel, and allows them to access information stored in common data service, of which Dynamics CRM applications are one. To a whole new kind of set of people. So it broadens the access, and this could expand the skill set in the channel overnight when it comes to retrieving and manipulating data. If you don't need to understand how to write fetch XML queries, but you can just use Transact SQL, it's a much simpler experience. It's in preview at the moment. There is limited information, but there is an article talking about how to connect. So if you do want to go around, upgrading your development environment, SQL Server to 2019 18.4 higher, then that article will take you through and talk you through how to do that. The final thing that I thought was worth a mention, Microsoft are replacing the current field service mobile app in Dynamics 365 with a native solution that's built on Power Platform. The interesting thing here is not so much the app, because it's widely known that Microsoft are doing that, but the fact that they stated that they were going to withdraw support for the current mobile client, so the non-Power Apps based one, in June 2022. So that to me is a leading indicator in regard to the time frame for Microsoft to have feature parity or greater over the existing applications in their transition to sort of Power Platform for their own Dynamics applications. I think, seeing the Business Applications Summit yesterday and looking at all of the things that were in there, it was very, very clear to me that the conversations were about Power Platform Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI to Power Everything. And if you're thinking about how you can work with QBS for Power Platform and Dynamics 365 products, I just wanted to highlight that we are running a webinar to help. The webinar will highlight core challenges faced by organizations already working with these technologies, and will provide a demonstration of the powerful platform and tooling that's available from QBS to help. So you should attend that call to gain an understanding of how you can work with QBS to manage unlimited customer tenants in one place, based on common data service using the Cloud Partner Panel, how you can quickly and easily onboard new customers using a solution called Jumpstart 365, how you could centrally deploy and protect your IP across an install base. That's kind of key. If you're going to go down the developing Power Platform or developing Power Apps route, you need a way to actually protect what you create and push out to customers there. We'll also kind of talk about lowering the cost of initial implementations through some of the free templated offerings that QBS have already created and make available to our partners for usage. So accounts, customers, deal management type scenarios, all based on common data service. We'll cover off additional services that we have available, such as how we could help you migrate your on-premises customers to the cloud. So that's it for me for today. Thank you very much for your time. Stay safe. And now I'm going to hand over to Klaas Malema from HillStar Business Intelligence, because if you've not had enough Power information so far, he's going to talk to you more about Birds, which is their Power BI based solution. Klaas?
Sander, showing my slide?
Yep, and we can hear you. So
correct. Now, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Klaas Mollema, and working in the IT industry since the early 90s. But in my ERP years, a lot of customers asked me about their reporting. They all said, "Hey, Klaas, we put a lot of data in ERP systems, and when I want to report on my turnover of last month, I can print a list of my sales per customer, per salesman. But when I want to analyze and drill through my data, my system says no. So help." Now, in this years, we used reporting tools like Cognos and Crystal Reports. Maybe you're familiar with all these tools. Excel a lot. But then in 2015, Power BI was introduced by Microsoft. And was this the game changer it intended to be? Yes, but when implemented correctly. And that's where I will talk about a little bit. First of all, I want to introduce one of our partners, 4PS. 4PS is a partner headquartered in the Netherlands, but also offices in UK, in Sweden, in Belgium. They came a couple of years ago. They contacted me and they told they are using Power BI. But the performance was weak and the customers were complaining about the effort and costs they needed to spend to get Power BI implemented correctly. And they asked, "Hey, HillStar, how do you do this?" And we did a proof of concept with them, and they were convinced, but more important, their customers were convinced. And since late 2018, we implemented Birds at 20 customers from 4PS in the enterprise environment as well as the small and medium business. So it's suitable for customers with, let's say, 10 million turnover and 10 billion turnover. Now, what is Birds? Birds is developed to make life easier and deliver added value. Now, deliver added value is maybe a whole phrase of words, but added value, everyone here in the audience wants to deliver added value to the customers. But how what do we bring to the table? We bring to the table pre-configured KPIs in a well-configured dashboard. We spend a lot of time with customers to design dashboards in a way that customers and end users can understand what they see. And we do that in Power BI and to quick start every new BI project. We have based our solution on the latest Microsoft technology, and it is also backwards compatible. So not only for the newest versions of Business Central, but also for NAV and AX and D365 F&O. Where situations are more complex, our added value will be seen and shown more and more. Customers and partners can start analyzing directly after the installation of birds. So what's going on in my business and how can I improve? That's where a business gets more intelligent. What's in it for you as an implementation partner of Dynamics? Birds is a solution that is installed in the customer environment. So it is delivered with a technical tool set to keep track on performance, data disruptions, etc., etc. But that is the technical parts. We also maintain the solution for Dynamics D365 F&O and Business Central and all its former versions. And what we do is we add new functionality and new insights. And also we use the BI stack and the Azure BI stack of Microsoft to get more building blocks available to get, for example, predictive analytics, budgeting and forecasting abilities, etc. And what we also did is we add free available data sets like weather information and geographical data into the solution so you can analyze your ERP data on, for example, the weather. And what's in it for you? Last but not least, margin and happy customers. What do we have? Out of the box, we have a solution with the standard Business Central content. And what we also did is we integrated a couple of ISV solutions like K3 Fashion. We have also LS Retail Hospitality. We have now 4PS, for example. So we added data to our solution to get a better insight also on these ISV solutions. So if you have your own IP or you work with ISVs to implement Business Central at your customers, make sure you contact us to discuss the possibilities to add these to your own content packs. So it's also available then for you as partner and eventually not for others. So you can make your own flavor to your Business Central and Power BI implementation. My second last slide is about one of our customers, Tony Chocolonely. Maybe you know them. It's a fast growing and international company headquartered in Amsterdam. They have different Dynamics implementations and also historical databases. So it was pretty complex, but and they also have administration with different currencies. And what they want is to measure everything what is going on in their company. And they use our solution to get an intelligent business and organization. Okay, a lot of information, but I want to invite you for an impression on our solution. So if you want to learn more about birds and what's in it for you, and to discuss a cooperation with us, make sure you attend our webinars scheduled later this month. We have also an introduction promotion ending July the 1st to work with your first customers in a proof of concept situation. And when not certified, no costs, no payments. So hope to get you into the journey of Power BI, and hope to see you in one of our sessions to deep dive into our solution. Many thanks and for attending now, and hope to see you later this month. Hand over to you, Sander.
Yeah, thanks so much, Klaas. And of course, all the dates and the right URLs will be shared in the thank you email. So, there will be indeed also time for questions if you have any. So please register for those webinars and join those webinars and get in discussion with HillStar and see what it is or what are the possibilities for you as a partner to offer this to your customers. So for now, I want to thank you all for joining this webinar. The next webinar will be in June, on the 4th of June. Plus, please remember that we have for now a special CRM webinar or webcast, which is coming Monday, the 11th of May. And you can still register for that one as well. But that's a 45 minutes just talking about and give you an update regarding to CRM, about the latest update which has been shared on Microsoft Application Summit. So please sign up for that one as well if you have any interest in the CRM solutions which Microsoft can offer you. So for now, I want to thank you all for joining. And well, final words, please stay safe. Thank you.